Every year, hundreds of people go missing inside national parks and forests all across North America. Often, these disappearances happen under very strange circumstances. A former police detective named David Paulides, along with the Can-Am Missing Project, have put thousands upon thousands of hours of investigation into these strange cases, and the result is a book and film series called Missing 411. We'd like to give our utmost thanks and respect to Dave and the many people working with him on this ongoing endeavor. I've left links in the description that will take you to the Can-Am Missing Project website where the books and films can be purchased. And so today we'll be taking a look at the common factors and similarities between these cases that make up the Missing 411 profile and the history behind the Missing 411 phenomenon. The whole idea of the Missing 411 phenomenon began interestingly enough inside a national park. David Paulides was there visiting, and he was approached by two off-duty park rangers who knew of him, his research, and his books on Bigfoot. These park rangers expressed grave concern about some of the strange disappearances in the national park system, and how these odd cases weren't being talked about or looked into, and asked Paulides to look into them. He agreed, and that began a journey that led to the clusters, the profile points, and later a series of at least 10 books and 3 films on the subject. And despite the project being at first limited to the U.S. National Park System, it has expanded to all across North America. So we will begin with a breakdown of the common factors and similarities of many of these cases, or what David Paulides calls profile points. Whether a case falls under some or all of these profile points helps determine if it will be investigated by the Can-Am Missing Project as a Missing 411 case. Point of separation. If the victim is with others and decides to move away from them or be on their own, that's the point in time something happens and the victim disappears. Time of separation. The most common time for a victim to disappear is in the mid to late afternoon hours, specifically between 2 and 5 p.m. Boulder fields. Victims are often found to disappear in areas of granite or rock fields. Near water. This is a very common trait where the victim disappears near a body of water and is found all over the world and not isolated to a geographical area. Significant weather event. There is a weather incident in close proximity to the time that the victim disappears or when the search starts. This issue could be anything from a dust storm to a full-blown blizzard. Disability or illness. Oftentimes, the victim is later found to either have an obvious or not so obvious disability or illness. Dogs can't track, or they lose the scent quickly. This is perhaps the most common profile point, present in around 95% of these cases. These expert tracking dogs are given a scent from an article belonging to a victim, and either the dogs cannot follow it or refuse to. Found in area previously searched. For unknown reasons, victims are commonly found in an area that had already been searched numerous times. Missing clothing. A common theme is that the victims are missing clothing and or their shoes at the time they're found. Unknown cause of death. If the victim is found deceased, and when they go through a post-mortem examination, the physician can't determine a cause of death. Geographical clustering. There is a clustering effect to victims who fit the Missing 411 profile. The number of victims in each cluster can range from just a couple to nearly 100. This is an example of the geographical clusters inside the United States. And come to find out, I live in one of these cluster areas, and in this cluster alone, 3 separate missing persons cases over a 4-year period each fit several of the profile points we just talked about. There are some circumstances that would automatically disqualify a case for being considered part of the missing 411 phenomenon. These include intentional disappearance, clear sign of foul play, likely self-harm intent, and obvious signs of animal predation. These types of cases show a likely cause of what happened and wouldn't be considered, as the time and expenses would be better used on cases which fit the profile points we just went over. Some common explanations for the missing 411 phenomenon are as follows. Alien abduction. These victims seem to vanish into thin air, often silently and with no obvious trail as to where they went. This would seem to eliminate a kidnapping or attack scenario, as there is no sign of a struggle and no screams for help or any other audible clues that something is wrong. Feral people. The story goes that in the 19th and early 20th century, people would go off, live in the woods, and adopt a cannibalistic lifestyle. And now, generations later, still living inside the national parks and in remote areas elsewhere, these feral people have evolved into something that is unrecognizable compared to society today. The supernatural. Things such as the Wendigo, a piece of Native American folklore, whose appearance is said to either be a tall, thin human with pale skin and sunken eyes, or a demonic entity with a deer skull for a head and horns, depending on who you talk to. Its sole purpose is said to be to find and consume human flesh, and it's said to have the ability to mimic human voices. Dimensional rifts or portals. These are commonly associated with the stairs in the woods phenomena and cave disappearances. Of course, there are those on the other side of the fence who believe that the missing 411 phenomena simply is a bunch of missing persons cases and deaths that have natural, rational explanations. We're not saying that we believe that any one or combination of these are responsible for these cases. We're just putting the common theories out there. It should be noted that David Paulides and the Can-Am Missing Project do not present theories on what happened. They're simply presenting facts from each case, and they let the viewer or reader make up their own mind on what they think happened. So next time you watch a video on the missing 411 cases, whether it be on our channel or another, keep in mind these profile points and see for yourself how these cases fit the points presented. Keep an open mind and come to your own conclusions. I would highly recommend checking out the Missing 411 books and films, available at the Can-Am Missing Project website, links in the description. It really is an intriguing series, and even if you're skeptical, it is a well put together series. I've thoroughly enjoyed each and every one of them, and give David Paulides and his team the utmost thanks and respect for his organization's hard work spanning years. And so, that's going to do it for this episode of the Sheldrake Files. If you enjoyed the video and haven't done so already, please give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. If you have story suggestions, I can be reached by direct message on these social media platforms. And so, from all of us here at the Sheldrake Files, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.